Hi, Dale again, coming to you first from my basement this time. It's Halloween time again, and I like to bring my Halloween decorations down here first so I can test them and do whatever maintenance is required on them. This video, I'm going to show you how to build a Timmy Fell in the Well infinity mirror. Most infinity mirrors you see are simply a ribbon of LED lights sandwiched between two mirrors. That's cool, but I want mine to actually look like something. So I'm going to build a brick well where you're going to see the brick walls of the well go down into the ground forever. I'm even going to add an audio loop of kids screaming for help from the bottom of the well. It's going to be cool. Also around this time of year, I'm often reminded by my neighbors about the original owner. The original owner fell on bad times, became very depressed, and hung himself right in this very basement. They tell me since then this house has been bought and sold many, many times. The new owners swear they see the ghost of that original owner from long ago. Well, I'm here to tell you, we've been here a very long time, and that is complete garbage. We've never seen anything, heard anything, felt anything, or anything else to make us think this house is haunted. Complete hogwash. So let's get on with this build. I'm really excited about it. Let's go. I'm sure you've all seen other people make infinity mirrors where they use only the LEDs and a very small distance between the mirrors, and it appears that the LEDs go down forever. Mine's going to be different. I'm actually going to put a good bit of space in between my mirrors, and I'm going to put some faux brick on the inside with some lights, so it'll appear that not only is it just lights going down forever, you're going to see a brick wall that goes down forever. So I've got these two pieces of plexiglass. They're different size, so I'm going to cut the larger one to the size of the smaller one, and I will go from there. I also have this branch which has nothing to do with this project.
I first use blue painter's tape to tape off the edges where I'm going to be cutting. This really helps give a cleaner cut. One thing I really should be doing though is wearing a respirator. Anytime you're working with anything that puts out a lot of fine particles, you need to be wearing one, especially with plexiglass. That's stuff that you really don't want to be breathing in, and the little particles, they're really charged with a lot of static electricity and cling to a lot of things. So shame on me here. Rather than going out and buying a mirror right off the bat, I'm going to try this paint that is supposed to give a mirror-like finish. We're going to see how that goes. So the first thing I do is I peel off the backing of one side of the plexiglass and I spray paint the back. Time for the great unveiling. I peel the plastic off the front. Check out the results. The results are, it's not going to be good enough for what I need, but it actually is pretty cool and works pretty well. But for this application, it really needs to be a pretty flawless mirror, and this one is pretty cloudy. So I'm going to have to buy a mirror. Using leftover 1/2 inch birch plywood from a previous project, I cut the sides of my infinity mirror about 12 inches tall. I found this brick paneling at one of the big box stores. It was 25 bucks for a sheet, so I went ahead and picked it up. It'll work perfect to make my well look like it's got brick sides. I used my straight cut circular saw jig to cut my brick siding at the same height, about 12 inches, as the 1/2 inch plywood that I cut earlier. If you'd like to see how I made the jig for cutting straight cuts on my circular saw, I have an earlier video on that. Check it out if you're interested. The next step is gluing the brick panels to the plywood. I'm only showing one glue up on camera, but of course you'll have to glue
all panels onto the plywood. The side pieces were too big to fit in my crosscut sled, so I removed the leading edge of my crosscut sled, which is going to allow me to cut these 12-inch pieces. It'll overhang the front of the crosscut sled a bit, but it works just fine. Working with my crosscut sled this way, I was able to cut to length all the sides. Now it's time to put the window tint on the plexiglass. This will create a two-way mirror. You'll see through it from one side, it'll reflect from the other. Shout out goes to Matthew at UHS Window Tinting Atlanta up in my area. Not only did he give me a few pieces of the window tint for free, he gave me some pointers on how to use it, even offered to do it himself, but I turned that down as I wanted to do this myself. So again, UHS Window Tinting, if you're in the Atlanta area and you need any kind of window tint, give them a call. They're great guys. Now I move forward with putting the window tint on. Use plenty of soapy water in a spray. Make sure you keep it nice and wet. Peel off the liner of the window tint. Put it on and smooth it out as best as you can using a squeegee or anything else you can. You want to make sure that you move all of the air bubbles out to the edge. Get it as smooth as you possibly can. Big advice I can give is use a hard table. The table I was on had a lot of give to it, so it actually made pushing those air bubbles out a little bit tougher. Trim the edges up nice and tight, then set it aside and wait for it to dry. This Halloween prop is going to be moved around quite a bit, so I'm worried about the mirror breaking. So I used some construction adhesive and stuck it to the back of some 1/4 inch scrap plywood I had, just to add some extra strength to it. Back to the infinity mirror brick walls. We need to cut a rabbet on the top of the walls, and we need to cut a dado near the bottom of each wall. The top rabbet will hold the tinted plexiglass, and the rabbet near the bottom will hold the mirror. Using a 1-inch Forstner bit, set the depth on your drill press so that it goes just a little bit less than all the way through one of the walls. Follow that hole with a 5/8 inch Forstner bit and have that one go completely through the wall in the center of the 1-inch cut. That's going to make it the perfect size for a C7 light bulb to fit into the back and the bulb to still be able to screw in through the front. It'll make more sense when you see it put together. Drill holes like this in the left and right walls only. The 4 walls of the infinity mirror will be put together with pocket holes. Remember, the brick portion of it should be facing inward. Now you can see how the light bulbs are inserted. I use LED C7 light bulbs. With the 3 sides assembled, insert the mirror in the bottom dado with the mirror facing up, and then slide on the 4th side, secure it with the pocket hole screws. With the infinity mirror portion now complete, now it's time to build the outer structure. I build this out of 2x4s. I cut 4 legs to 2 feet tall, and then I cut the rails to size to fit the infinity mirror. wonder what I'm going to use to assemble the 2x4 frame around the outside. I know. Pocket holes. I'm not going to bore you and have you watch me drill every pocket hole and screw every pocket hole, so I'm just showing a few of them. The rest are done off camera. Make sure that you measure with care the size of your infinity mirror before you cut the 2x4 frame. You want it to fit just around the infinity mirror. Not too snug, but not too much play either. Time to test fit the 2x4 structure over the infinity mirror. If you look close, you can see that I actually had to come back and cut slots into those bottom rails because it was too tight and wouldn't go over the C7 light sockets. Now it's time to cut the brick panels for the outside walls as well as the inside wall above the infinity mirror. It'll make more sense once you see it assembled. I'm using screws to attach the brick panels to the outside of the 2x4 frame. I'm going to later come back with some black spray paint just to dirty it up and make it look older, and I'll make sure that I hit the screw heads so they won't be seen. The last paneling to be installed goes on the inside of the 2x4 frame at the top. This will be the initial appearance that people will see inside of the well. I found that by having some actual depth to the prop before the infinity mirror starts adds a ton of realism. Only one more part to build, and that's putting a picture frame around the top of the well. To do this, I used 2x4s and I cut large rabbets out of each 2x4 so that it'll fit snugly inside of the well. Again, it will make more sense when you see it assembled. Once I have my alignment correct, I move over to the miter saw where I cut my 45-degree miter cuts so I can complete the frame. You guessed it. I'm going to glue and pocket hole the miters to give them some extra strength. Throwing on some paint is the final step. The nice thing about this is it's Halloween, so if the paint job isn't great, that's okay. Assembly time. Put the infinity mirror on the ground. The mirror is already installed. Now you put the tinted plexiglass inside the rabbets on the top, shiny side down. Pick up the outer shell of the well and gently place it over the infinity mirror, letting it slide to the ground. Place the top picture frame trim on top and you are done. And behold, the Timmy Fell in the Well infinity mirror. It looks far, far better in person than it does on film. It really needs to have low levels of light, which does not play well with my camera. But believe me, it looks great. There you go. A Timmy Fell in the Well Halloween prop. This really turned out far, far better than I expected it to. The camera really doesn't do it justice. I highly recommend that you do one of these. The only thing that I have left to do is find a couple of kids in the neighborhood, record their voices yelling for help, things like that. I'll then put that on an audio loop. I'll put a speaker underneath it so that when people walk by, they'll hear it, draw them to it so that they can look down. And as for the stories of our house being haunted, we're very observant people. We've lived here for 15 years, plus or minus a year or so, and we've never seen a single piece of evidence to make us think that this house is haunted. It's just not there. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. I appreciate that. If you want to follow along, hit the subscribe button. I've got at least one more Halloween video I want to do, maybe 2 before the year's out. And of course, I'll keep on trucking with the normal videos. Until the next video, see ya.